Do you ever stop to ponder on why it is that middle class and lower class citizens or the population seem to have really, really poor money management? And if they are somewhat good at managing their money, they have really, really poor quote unquote investment strategies, or they just save with silly interest rates and get out credit cards and loans, and it's just absolutely ridiculous. Because the problem is with being in the middle class or the lower class of society, which most of the population is, let's be real, is that we're never taught about investments. We're never taught about taxes. We're never taught about accounts. We're never taught about banking, and the way the world runs on money, trade, markets. We're never taught about these things. Neither in school, neither by our parents. I remember being young, and it was just like, yeah, I'm young. I'm wild. I'm free. I wasn't like the best teenager in terms of behavior, but yeah, it was just like one day I was 18, and it was like, yeah, you got to get a job, you got to pay bills. It was like, hang on, you just like threw me into like, it's like a cold shock, and it's like we all go through it. It's like one day we're playing around with our friends in school, the next minute we're in college, the next minute it's like we got to get a job and pay bills. It's like, wow, whoa, I wasn't told this was gonna happen. I wasn't told this was gonna happen. Yeah, rudely interrupted. Saw a colleague of mine. Sorry about that. Yeah. So yeah, we're never taught about these things. Tax, banking. It's like we're just thrown into the deep end. It's like suddenly, oh, you got to get a job. It's like, oh my days. Like, how am I supposed to do that? And it's like a big struggle. Oh yeah, it's easy to get a job. Don't get me wrong. But when you're 18, 17, and you've never worked before, or you might have done an odd few jobs here with your uncle or whatever, like, fixing the house or changing some tires, or that's different. That's not really considered work, because it's not taxed. I'm talking like a proper job, like you're taxed from. It's pretty difficult as a kid in society that has no clue about these things. I think we need to take our time to start teaching our kids about working and saving money, and how to spend money, and also paying rent and all these things. I know it sounds far-fetched. I've got a good friend of mine, and he was telling me what he does is he gives his son, I think his daughter's a bit too young at the moment, but he said he gives his son, I think his son must be about 6 or 7, he gives him like £20 a week or $30 or whatever that is in US dollars. Yeah, and after a day or two, he says he has to pay him rent. He would take like a $5 back out of him, or £5 or whatever out of. But it sounds harsh, but it's good, because it's teaching his son. He's teaching his son, the principle of you have to live. To live, you have to spend money. You have to pay rent. You have to pay electric. It's good to teach them that from a young age. It's really good, and it's something that I'm gonna adapt. From my friend. Big up to my friend, man. Something I'm gonna adapt as well, and put into a structure of how I should raise my kids. Something I'm gonna take from him, which I think is really good, because if I knew that as a kid, if I grew up like that, my mum gave me like pocket money or whatever, but then from a young age, then I'm having to put £5 back out of it. I'll be so used to that when I do get to a stage where I'm making hundreds, I'm used to already putting money out for something. It wouldn't be so hard for me to do it. Society today is, in our society, because our society is different to the upper class and the rich people. In the middle class and the lower class, and I don't care if you're some top shotter, like big drug dealer, bad man, you're still to me, you're still classed as middle class, because that's not legit. You're constantly watching your back. You're not really paying tax. You can't go and buy some massive mansion in offshore in, I don't know, in the Bahamas and live like a king, legitly, you know. I mean, even if you can, it's not legit. You're still lower class to me, and to the upper class, you will always be seen as lower. If anything, you're seen as even more lower class than the middle class, because, you know, yeah, you got all this money and that, but it's blood money. It's not good, you know. And I'm not knocking anyone that's drug dealing or whatever. You make your money, fair enough. That's how you make it. I ain't knocking no one, you know. However you make your money, as long as you're making money, you're making money. That's all that counts, you know. And bums that sit there and want the government to pay them, they're the ones that need to kick up the backside, you know. So the point I'm trying to get to is that, you know, we focus so much as the middle class and the lower class, and, you know, that sort of society as on. We focus so much on, you know, having the new latest clothes, having the latest shoes, the nicest watch. You know, we want to spend, we consume, and then it doesn't do us no justice, because we're still in the same position that we were in 5 years down the line. Whereas the upper class and the rich people, instead of them buying all the latest designer gears and new shoes, they'll be quite happy to wear the same clothes for 3-4 years. And if they do have to buy clothes, just standard clothes, nothing too. And they could afford to get Gucci's and Louis Vuittons. They could afford that, but they'd rather stick with the box standard, you know, I don't know, H&M or Next, maybe even Primark, or in America, what you call it, Walmart or whatever. I don't know, but yeah, the point I'm trying to say is that, you know, they're quite happy to stick with just the bog standard of things, you know, and put their money into investments. They put their money into clever little things that could in turn turn their thousands into hundreds of thousands, or turn their hundreds into thousands, you know. Meanwhile, the average person on the road is looking like $1 million, but really he's got nothing to his. It's funny because when I was growing up, I had a good friend that always had the latest tracksuits, always had the newest Nike shoes, always had the newest Ralph Lauren, what was it back then? Academics, A9, I can't remember what they were called. Academics, Avorexes. This is the shit we was wearing back in the day. Fubu's and Fat Farm, Visu. Like he always had it. He looked fresh. Never had a dime in his pocket. Punching cigarettes off people. It just looks silly to me. I'm looking at him thinking, but you got all this nice clothes on, but you can't even afford to buy a box of cigarettes. It doesn't make no sense. So yeah, it's just it's dawned upon me that in society, it's like the lower class and the middle class seem to have this thing about looking good, even if it means they don't have any money in their pocket, you know. And I think that mentality is very wrong. Like we need to start to teach our kids it's not to be so materialistic. Start to teach them about investment. Start to teach them to be more you know, fundamental with money. Start to teach them you know, asset classes, tax, and like I said before, giving them pocket money and then taking some back out of it is a good way to start teaching them about, you know, having to pay in society, because otherwise they grow up and then they're getting big for the house, and you as a parent, you're thinking, wow, well, you need to get a job, you need to pay towards the rent, you're eating all my food and whatnot, you know, you need to, and obviously it's your son, it's your daughter, it's your child, you're gonna feed them same way, you know, because you're a child, but you're gonna want them at some point, especially when they start getting to like 16, 17, 18 plus, them ages there, you're gonna want them to start, you know, doing their own thing, like pulling their own weight, paying their own way, even if it is for them. You should want to do that and be proud of them as well, you know. So yeah, I think if you don't start to teach them these things from earlier on, then you're going to be kicking yourself when you try to tell them you need to go out and get a job, or you need to find a career, or, you know, put your head down, do something, make some investments. Don't be shocked when they're looking at you funny and confused, like, hold on, this is the first time you're telling me this over the past 16, 17, 18 years. What do you mean get a job? Like, I've never heard. You need to start making them understand, look, we go to work, you need to get a job in life as you get older. It's something that we do, studying, you know, getting a good career, going to university. It's the standard way. Teaching them how to invest in. Teach them, how to make a business. Look at what they're interested in. Oh, my daughter's interested in, arts and crafts. Let's put her into arts and crafts schools. Look at online business, arts and crafts business. Try and even help her to make a little business from when she's young. Have a little business mind about her. Oh, my son is into my son's into medicine. I don't know. My son's into science. Okay, let's look for some little scientific classes he can go to on the weekend. Let's try and encourage him to push them into that direction. Look at online businesses on science or experiments and just help them do little things, get them the little equipments they need, invest in them, because then at the end of the day, when they do get to like the ages of 18, plus, they'll have some sort of idea what they want to do, and they'll already be that one step ahead when you do start telling them, oh, you gotta help out with the rents or with the electrics or with the food, or you gotta, look for a job or start elevating yourself. They would be already one step ahead in that field. So yeah, I think it's very important. The lesson for today is that it's very important to teach your children money management, to teach your children investments, to teach your children about tax, to teach your children what the rich people teach their children, rather than teaching them, oh, let's go on holiday, oh, let's go to the shop, let's go shopping, let's buy this, let's buy that, let's buy this, let's buy that. You're just teaching them about buying things, not teaching them about investing in things. Because you got two types of people. You got the consumers and you got the suppliers. So it's your choice. You want your child to be the consumer, or you want your child to be the supplier. You could be somewhere in the middle. But yeah, that's the lesson for today, people. It's very important. Teach your children money management and life earlier on before it gets too late. All right, peace.